It's that time of year, it's the season of love, and today on the UYC show we're talking about dating and relationships. Woo. Take the ride.
Hey, welcome to the UYC show, where we're all about training up and talking about next generation leaders. And today we're talking about leadership in regards to
Black History Month.
Valentines
Day. Do the
Day.
same joke.
Oh, President's Day. That's okay. It's even funnier.
Wow.
Jesse, you were supposed to say Black History. You're the black
I
guy.
didn't know if I was going to say it. I thought we
You're the romantic, and then I'm the presidential guy. So we were all going to say the three things, right?
Oh man,
We failed.
and I'm just out of the joke.
Yeah.
You said the hook. So anyway,
Start of spring training.
So anyway,
Baseball.
we're here to talk about students and leadership, and specifically as it deals with dating and relationship and how that works in youth group. How does that work with like advising students or whatever? So anyway, I think we got something going on that's kind of fun. Joemel,
I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a little icebreaker. We got a fun little game going. So as many of you who watch might know, almost everybody on staff is married. But we do have our one honorary single guy. Ladies, let's not all comment at once.
Hey, ladies, all 12 of you. He's single and ready to mingle.
If there are 12 ladies watching the show, other than Chris's mom,
My mom,
your
too.
mom, yeah.
Come on, give him some credit.
Yeah. I don't even know if we have that many views, but
My mom's happily married.
Okay, that's good. So since Jesse is a single guy, we're going to play a game centered around Jesse. So the way it's going to work is I have a list of 5 first date stories, or first date, or most recent first date type stories.
First date.
Worst date.
Or just
or
a
worst
date.
date, or
I thought
just
it was
any
worst
random
date.
date.
I didn't know it was first date.
It was
Worst
supposed to be
date, first date.
but-
He's going to totally know mine.
See, if he said it out loud, I would understand making that mistake, but
Right.
it was through text.
Right.
So I don't know how you got, but it's okay. He doesn't have to know if it's the worst or the first. He can try to guess along, but Jesse's going to guess which staff member it is between Chris, Brent, myself, writer Tony, and writer Mike. So
Man, I really
Shout
am
out
the
to
only
Tony
guy.
and Mike. What?
yeah,
I really am the only guy.
it's okay.
You're not the only guy. You're the only
For now.
single guy.
Hey, Paul.
I'm talking about that's what
Some
I meant
would argue that
Yeah.
we're more guy than you.
in relation to.
Hey, Paul says
You're just
marriage
his
and
guy.
singleness is both a gift, bro.
Yes, it
Amen,
is.
amen.
Yep.
I think you're just as much guy as the rest of us.
Embrace it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guy, yes. Man,
the
we're working
guyiest.
with. Yeah.
Hey, he's the most athletic, remember?
Oh, that's true. He
true.
is the most athletic. Ladies, athletic.
That's
All right.
funny.
Athletic, spiritual, intelligent, well-read, all-around package.
What else do you want?
He's reading books right now. He's like three books in for the year already.
He's currently reading a book while we're recording this episode.
Yep, he's got Audible on his right ear. That's why our sound is always messed up. He's listening to something else. Just kidding. Our sound is great.
We love doing our show for ourselves.
Obviously. It's just like youth group. I'm like, can we get to the icebreaker, kids?
Oh yeah,
Jeez.
sorry.
So I got 5 stories, and you're going to guess who it is. But we do have a punishment. Here's how it's going to go.
gosh.
Jesse, if you can get 3 out of 5 of these correct, Chris, Brent, or I will have to read our worst youth group appropriate pickup line straight into the camera, and we'll maybe share it on like our IG or something. Tony wrote an example here, and it's great. And it's by
Tony's
great, I mean
amazing.
it's
I love
terrible.
Of course.
You can't start with Tony's because Tony's is going to be the greatest.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look straight into the camera and say something like this: "Are you Moses' long lost sister? Cause I'm admiring you."
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's horrible.
Mariam.
That
I know
is-
it's supposed to be Miriam,
Miriam.
but
That was-
Miriam, admiring.
That was rough.
Oh, I was going to say, because I want to, I'm marrying you.
That was wow.
Oh man, yeah. So that's a bunch. But if Jesse can't get 3 out of 5, Jesse's gonna look into the camera.
All right.
And read the worst pickup line, youth group appropriate.
No,
and,
I think we need to pick who he has to call and then ask her out.
I'm just like, what pickup line? Technically, I haven't been on a
and
date
use the
according to
pickup
Brent.
line?
We'll work on
give
something.
We'll give you one. We will corporately write a pickup line for you. It has to be the first thing you say to her without prefacing it. You just have to call and be like, oh, hey, and then just go for it.
Oh my
Tony
gosh.
added this. It's great. Tony
I'll do
said,
it.
"You know when it's youth group appropriate if it's guaranteed to protect your virginity."
World of Warcraft.
So anything World of Warcraft related, you're safe. So it's got to be just terrible. A terrible pickup
Yep.
line. And that's how it's going to go down. So,
All right.
Jesse, you ready to play the game?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here we go. Here's your first date story. I took this date on an ice cream date so I could invite her out on our actual first date where we talked about marriage and theology. What else would you talk about on a first date? And this date became his wife. So he said, I took my wife on an ice cream date so I could ask her on an actual first date. Talk marriage and theology. Who do you think this is?
Obviously not Brent.
Dang!
Whoa!
Wow.
Brent loves ice cream and theology. Excuse you.
'Cause I know-
I talked marriage
because
and
I
theology on my
know-
first date with Amanda.
And
That's
ice
not
cream.
true. Yeah.
And
And I had a frappuccino, so that's an ice cream. Like that's a Starbucks.
That's not ice
That's
cream.
a Starbucks ice cream.
It's ice cream.
I would argue ice cream's healthier than a frappuccino.
Yeah, I would argue that a
I
frap
said no
is more
because
ice cream than his
specifically
coffee.
I knew
Yes,
you didn't take
true.
Amanda for ice cream.
But it's okay. So I mean, so
He
if you
changed
don't think
he
it's
changed
Brent,
the words up a little bit. Don't worry about that. That's
you
right.
don't think it's Brent, that's okay. You're entitled to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Who do you think it is? No looking at the screen.
Entitled. You're entitled.
You're entitled to your opinion.
What are you, a millennial? Oh wait, you are.
No,
He's like borderline Gen
Gen
Z.
Z,
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
That's even worse. The next generation entitlement's like it's like a logarithmic factor.
Oh man.
Hey,
To the
I
nth
am-
degree.
I am the bright light at the end of the Gen Z tunnel.
There you go.
Oh wow.
That's a
That
quote,
was highly narcissistic.
I know that's something.
dude.
I am the greatest of my generation.
That's gonna be part of his pickup line. What's up, girl?
I'm the
Just
bright
want you to
light
know.
at the end of the
I'm the
movie.
bright light at the
Sun.
end of the Gen Z tunnel.
All right, kids, back to the game. Jesse,
Icebreaker.
whose first date is this?
I'm going to say Mike.
All right. That is your guess, Mike. And I'll let you do one switch at the very end if you feel like you need to, okay?
Okay.
So you got Mike as that one. Here you go. Here's the second date. This is also a first date with someone's wife. I got gelato alongside a beach with my wife. As we walked the beach, we did not realize that my pastor was secretly supervising, in quotation marks.
Well, we've all been there.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh, and it says that this person was on staff as a youth pastor. That's why, yeah.
Is he gonna definitely not Brent again?
I'm not looking anymore. I can't look over that direction.
I don't know. I'm going to...
You got four more people.
A straight guess. I'm just going to say Tony.
All right. So you got Mike, and then you got Tony. Awesome,
Or
awesome,
actually,
awesome.
no. I'm going to switch that. Let's just be Joemel. We'll say Joemel.
The second one is me.
Yeah, we'll say Joemel.
Okay. Second date is Joemel. Got it. All right. So that means that so far we've got Mike and then me.
Yes, Mike and Joemel.
Perfect. All right. Here's our third date story. I once climbed up to my wife's bedroom with a table and Denny's in one hand. And then we had our first date on her second story balcony after she nearly had a heart attack thinking someone was trying to break in.
Lots of thinking.
That's a lot of thinking.
I'm going to say...
Very
that one is
romantic.
Tony.
Lots of contemplation.
Okay. So we got Tony climbing. What makes you think Tony's the type to climb up to a wife's bedroom?
I don't know. Tony always has some crazy stories.
Yeah. Sounds like it's straight out of an 80s like rom-com, right? And I feel like Tony, out of all of us, is the most out of an 80s rom-com. So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
some good logic. Not even the guy who was alive during the 80s.
Right? He's the youngest one.
All right. So here's the fourth
He's
story.
married
Okay.
Before me.
To land this first date, I attended Knott's Scary Farm 20 times in 1 month to see my wife in character.
Wasn't that you, Brent?
Could have been.
I'm not talking.
Ah, dang it. I want to do a switch now, but
There'll be a time for that.
There'll be a
no
time.
time. I'll just say
There'll be a
this one
time.
is dang. See, I don't know. I'll say this one's Chris,
Okay.
although I know it's not.
Okay, we got Chris attending Knott's Scary Farm 20 times in 1 month. Right on.
Knott's Berry Farm is fun, man.
That's a lot of times, bro.
We'll talk more and we'll share more details at the end. But last but not least, on this first date, I held hands with a girl for the very first time on the Ferris wheel of the San Diego / Del Mar Fair.
All right. Well, I'm only left with Brent, so we're putting Brent there.
It's so benign for Brent.
Yeah.
He's a pretty benign guy.
All right.
All right, so those are your 5 guesses. I'm going to give you one chance to do a switcheroo. Would you like to rotate any of these stories, these picks?
I do. I want to... I want to rotate you to the Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay. So I attended Knott's Berry Farm, and Chris got gelato along the beach with his pastor supervising.
Sure, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right.
I did bad on this. Oh gosh, here comes the pickup line.
Well, let's see. The first date. The guy who took his wife out for ice cream to ask for a second actual date to talk marriage and theology.
First date, Joemel.
Sorry. The first date was, so I took my wife on ice cream. You know what? Chris, maybe you can explain this because this was your first date.
It was a non-date, okay? I didn't want to ask her out over the phone, over text or a call. So I said, do you need a ride to church? And then we just happened to stop by some ice cream. And then I said, do you want to go on a date?
Smoothie.
Because it wasn't a date.
So where was the actual first date?
We went to P.F. Chang's.
Ooh, very uncultured.
And discussed
very disappointing.
Theology and marriage.
Okay.
I do remember that story.
There you go. So that's -1 for Jesse.
I suck.
Well, I mean, not -1.
Yeah.
That's just a 0.
0 out of 1. All right. So the next date, the person who got gelato alongside the beach, that beach was actually Palawan Beach in the Philippines. And that was myself. So you were right the first time.
Shouldn't have switched it.
Yep. I told my girlfriend at the time. Oh, no, not my girlfriend. She wasn't even my girlfriend. I confessed to her on a missions trip that I had a crush on her. And then I said, let's go on a date. Let's walk along the beach. And she found out I never tried gelato before.
Oh.
So there was a little gelato spot on the beach. We grabbed gelato. We walked along the beach. I was really tempted to hold her hand and give her a kiss. But I'm thankful I didn't.
Yeah.
Because afterwards, my pastor's like, hey, watched
nice
you.
walk on the beach.
Yeah, nice walk on the beach last night. My wife and I watched you the whole time just to make sure you were okay.
Oh, God.
To make sure
make sure.
Okay, I was literally just hired on staff the week before that missions trip,
wow.
so I don't blame him at all. But we kept joking, I'm so glad we didn't do any first date, first kisses that day. So that was totally me.
Wouldn't know. Never had one.
Never had a first kiss or gelato?
First kiss.
Because I can help you with one of those.
Yeah, we can go get gelato right now.
I'm not giving you your first kiss.
Everybody chime in. Which would you like us to help him on?
Gelato or first kiss?
That'll be the
Whichever gets the most votes.
Whichever one gets the most comments wins.
Oh, man. Well, good thing you guys didn't kiss on that date. My wife's first kiss we kissed the day before our wedding. That was our first kiss.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. You were
Bro,
so
you
close.
almost made it.
Well,
so close to having a pure marriage.
So here's the thing: is she didn't want to have her first kiss be in front of all those people. So she wanted it to kind of be private and,
My wife said the same thing. I don't want that to be our first kiss. That could be potentially awkward. What if you kiss terrible?
Well, and to even add to it, we went to Cold Stone where we had our first non-date, and that's where we had our first kiss. So.
Okay, so how sloppy was your wedding kiss? Did you have one of those wedding kisses that everyone could tell this guy's kissed her before?
Well, my wife passed out, so
Dang, you're good.
That's how
bro.
good the kiss was?
Not while we were kissing, but she passed out before, so it wasn't too crazy.
That's called mouth to mouth. That's reviving her back. That's not a kiss, bro. It doesn't count.
I remember my dad got mad at me right after the wedding because he was just like, dude, the way you kissed your wife, everyone knows you've done that before. Super obvious. Not cool, man. You should have.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, Dad. I just got married.
For being an expert on how I know how to kiss.
That's hilarious.
Hey, all your training paid off.
Oh, man.
All right,
funny.
next
All right,
story.
So 0 for 2.
Yeah, 0 for 2. Okay, so
You got to go 3 for 3.
who was your guess here for the one who climbed
I'm
into the wife's
automatically
bedroom?
wrong.
Who was the guess? I'm giving you a chance to remind me, so you can lie, but it's
We are one
Well,
away
here,
from
I'm
you.
not
Give him-
gonna lie.
give him
It
one
was
more switch.
Obviously, Tony.
Give him
that
one
I
more
said.
switch in the final 3.
You want to do one more switch?
Since
I'll give you one more switch. Yeah. Give you one switch.
Who do you want to put in the third story, fourth or fifth?
I'll keep Tony there.
Keep Tony in the third.
Keep Tony as climbing.
Okay.
Who are you gonna put in the fourth story and the fifth story?
The fourth was
Not Scary Farm.
not.
You had
Scary
Chris there
Farm.
originally.
And then you put Joemel there.
I guess I'll put Mike there. Tony, Mike, Brent. We're ending it.
All right.
All right, so
No
we're
more
really
switching.
all right. Well, this third story, the one who climbed up his wife's balcony to have a date. Lucky you, that was Tony. That
You
was
guessed
the
it
one.
right.
Tony.
Okay, so I
There
got
you
one
go.
right.
So you are 1 for 3. I wish Tony was here to explain this,
I wanna hear
but But that brings us to our last story. Oh, no, our second to
4.
last story. Who attended Not Scary Farm 20 times in a single month to see his wife in character?
Wow.
That was, in fact, our boy Mike Anderson.
Wow.
Yeah. I could totally
So-
see
Wow. look at
his
that.
wife being a like theme park character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hilarious. Like going to a theme park 20 times in
And
1 month.
not just a theme park character. Not
I still haven't met her
Scary
either.
Farm.
Yeah, not Knott's Berry Farm. Not
Not
Scary Farm.
Scary Farm.
Never been to either.
Never been Knott's Berry Farm?
Well, they
No.
are the same place.
It's the same
so-
place. Not
Yeah.
Scary Farm is just
It's
during
October.
I know
October.
that. That's why I was just saying I've never been to
Yeah.
either because I've never been to Knott's
I
Berry.
forgot you didn't grow
So
up in San
therefore,
Diego
never been
because
there.
that was like where we all went for like elementary school field trips. and all
Apparently,
that.
Knott's created the boysenberry. Did you know that?
They
You
created it.
a berry?
The Knott's guy, yeah.
How
He
do you
created-
create a berry?
He infused
It was
two
a
berries
berry
together.
farm, and he created.
Yeah, he had a berry farm, and
Oh.
Are you
he
serious?
infused 2 different berries into and
create
and
the
called it
Not
boysenberry.
GMO.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm like, he's not God. He can't just make life. But I guess, hybrid.
I didn't understand back in the day, but originally Knott's Berry Farm was a berry farm.
Yeah, it
and
was
you
a
would
berry
just go. You would go do berry farm things. You'd go pan for gold. You'd all these interactive stuff. But it was before they had really good roller coasters.
Now they have roller coasters.
And I hated it because I was like, I don't want to go there. I'm
Does
gonna
it still exist?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Knott's
Where
Berry
is it?
Farm. Have you never been to Knott's Berry?
I have as a kid. I was wondering if it's still around.
Yeah,
It's right by
it's by
Disneyland. It's just a little
it's
north.
like next door neighbor, but they
Okay.
sell berries.
Right off the 91, I think.
They sell boysenberries.
That's funny.
Or
They hybrid boysenberries.
I just know they had jam. Like you would leave and you'd leave with jam. And I'd
Oh,
be
I
like,
love
Just
jam.
remember that leaves our
the
last
Knott's Berry
story
Farm Freeway.
being the man who held hands for the very first time atop the Ferris wheel of
This
the
story I
San
knew.
Diego Fair. Is
oh,
in
you knew that
fact
one?
Brent Iden.
Yeah. He told me that story before.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good thing we saved him for last. But
That
wait,
one,
by
yeah.
technicality,
So he got one.
no. That means that Jesse got 3
Yeah,
out of
3.
5 because we let him do a little
Oh.
mix-up at the very end.
If I
feel
didn't
like
have
that
any
wasn't
mix-up-
very fair.
If I
Well-
didn't have any mix-ups, I still would have gotten it because I wouldn't
You-
have messed up yours.
Yeah, that's true.
I
If
had
you
the
never-
Tony and I had Brent, and I messed up yours with the first switch, and then I fixed it by putting Mike's in the
second
second
switch.
switch.
I think since he heard Brent's story already, then he has to do it, and then one of us has to do it.
No.
So that's like
whack.
2.5.
I think so.
Yeah.
He shouldn't
So
have. a
both
second
of us
chance.
should have
Yeah.
to do
Yep.
a
No.
pickup line.
I
You're
agree.
the one who
I
did-
agree.
Pickup line.
Okay, well, that's the end of our game. We'll figure
all
out.
suck.
Jesse won. I'll read a pickup line into the mic if I have to. We'll see. Good job, Jesse. But Jesse, I mean, since you are the single guy, you should want to read a pickup line into the camera
Oh,
for,
yeah.
Right?
for practice.
Right? Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
This could
No,
help
thank you.
Helpful. Very
No,
helpful.
thank you.
So guys, let's transition to some youth pastor conversation. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, what advice do you have for youth pastors that are trying to shepherd students through high school dating? Because I know it's a weird thing. It's a weird topic. I mean, I'm a pretty young youth pastor, so I don't even know if I have much wisdom in this area. How about you guys? Like, what wisdom do you guys have?
My thing when I got someone dating in high school, and I mean I haven't seen very many middle school dating, but I mean it happens, of course. I mean it's probably over in a week anyway. But for our high schoolers, it's basically trying to dig down on what is the purpose of dating.
Yeah.
Like why are you dating?
That's
Like
good.
what are you just dating because everybody else is dating, because there's a cute boy or a cute girl? And so really digging down on what is the purpose of dating? Why are you doing this? And so, that eventually leads them to the obvious, well, for marriage, or, they try and say, oh, for fun or whatever. But that's kind of my go-to on high school relationships is, why are you doing this? So, Brent?
That's why you talk marriage and theology on your first date. That's what we should
Exactly.
encourage all of them to do.
Exactly.
Talk marriage and
Big
theology.
that way. I think there's a lot of factors. I think number one, it depends on the culture of your church, whether it's approved, disapproved, like the families that are around you.
Mm-hmm.
So in every youth group that I've run, you always have families that are on every side of
Yeah.
every issue. And so I try to be a little bit knowledgeable of all the sides, but also try to help the kids that are allowed to date, not throw shade on the kids that are not allowed to date, because
Yeah.
we've got a lot of families that are very protected and protective. And
Yeah.
so try not to help them define a straight line. I normally just talk about it as like when these things happen to you, here's some good principles to go by. And so rather than trying to either encourage or discourage, but just say, you and your family are going to have these talks about these specific issues. So I just know there's been a lot of things even allowing parents to know that we're talking about those things. And I've got some parents that have taken their kids out of those talks because they didn't want the youth pastor to introduce those kind of concepts. And we normally, in the past, have separated our junior high and high school together, from together to separate, just so we can be a little bit more specific. Just because I just think there's like a lot of our high school students are fully out in the world practicing what marriage would look like if they had actually gotten married. And so I don't need those conversations happening with our junior hires. And most of our junior hires, sometimes in the times past, not now, but in times past, we've had a lot of junior hires that were very promiscuous. And so I just didn't need them bringing their not ignorance, but their whatever they've got that they're prideful about, and bring that to the conversation where it makes everybody really, really awkward. So,
for sure.
Joemel?
So what would you say to the youth pastors themselves? So I mean, I think that's good advice for, like for what you guys are doing. But like, what would you tell like a youth pastor who's just like, I got kids dating, they want to date, like, what would you tell them? Like, what word of advice?
So you're not talking about like a youth group setting, like in front of everybody. You're talking about just talking now.
If you're just talking to another youth pastor, like how would you advise them to deal with it? Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I mean, normally, those things that I previously mentioned, they still apply to me. It's like, I want to know the culture of the church and the culture of the families that are there. And then as I find out what the family's looking for, like many times I have stronger or more, I don't know how to say it in a way that doesn't seem so rude, but like more biblical opinion than even the families had. And so I've heard families go, that's not realistic, So I heard a couple in there saying, and we were talking about, hopefully we're on the same page that you don't want your daughter to be having sex before marriage, or your son, or whatever. And one of the family members was like, well, I'm a realist. It's going to happen. So I don't think that's our goal. And I didn't have anything to say at that point. I was just like, oh, awesome. And you're an elder of which church? Like that's, because if you can't control your own family, the Bible says there might not be a place for you to be, controlling the house of God as far as a leader that way. And if you don't think that you have trained those principles to your kids, I'm a little bit concerned, but it kind of goes back to what you're saying, like what's the purpose? I grew up in a pretty strict, not family thinking about that. Like I was a little bit more strict than my parents, I think, in some regards, where I like hyper spiritualized not dating. And so like that was my badge of honor, is like I didn't want to date. And I think it kind of, I don't know, sensationalized it in my head a little bit, so that like the first date was going to be the greatest, and then they were not. Like I made a lot of mistakes. So trying to have good godly parameters for families to actually go forward, or group dating, or family dating, like we did stuff where we could bring people to our house and do stuff. So anyway, I think there's a lot of nuances on all that stuff. So
I'd say just like, what's the purpose of dating? I would say to a young youth pastor, what's the purpose of your relationship with this student? Like, are you so legalistic that you have to just shut down anything and everything they're doing? And obviously, we probably don't want people dating in middle school, in high school. It's going to happen. But, are you putting your quote unquote biblical theology over and above your relationship with that student who's in your youth group? We've talked about this before too, where we have so little time in comparison to their families, and so if their families are saying these types of things like, well, it's going to happen, then how much more sway do we have on that specific topic? So it's got to be gospel centered, and do you believe in Jesus? If you believe in Jesus, then I'm going to go one way with your dating relationship. If you don't believe in Jesus, then
let's talk about that.
Let's focus on that thing.
There's other things to talk about.
It doesn't matter who you're dating.
That's not the only problem if that's the issue.
So,
but I think we're going into this with a shared idea that this is Christian kids who are attempting to follow Jesus, claiming to attempt to follow Jesus. And in that situation, I think those are good things. I think like what Brent said is, is a lot of it is it depends. Like, you would ask that youth pastor, well, who do you got? Like, what's the situation? Are these church kids or non-church kids? Because that's a big thing too. Like, I was thinking, parents, I have non-church kids who are like, their parents, like, they'll tell me, oh, my parents buy me the condoms. They got me on birth control because they say it's just not realistic to follow youth pastors. Like, they don't expect me to follow abstinence like you're telling me to do. And that's just like, it's hard to compete with that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's really hard to compete
and if
with.
the kids know that their parents didn't, and they're like, and look, my parents' life turned out okay.
Yeah.
So this whole like standard you're trying to set, it's not necessary. Like, I've had that conversation with a kid, and I'm just like, he's like looking at me, and I'm like, I'm trying to maintain my best foot forward, so that when I'm married, then I've got less shame, and I'm able to move forward sexually without any hindrance.
Exactly.
And that's actually been my catch line that actually caught more kids that weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I said, I bet I have better sex than you. And I said that to my non-Christian kids. And then that sparked a whole lot of conversation. Because, well, what do you mean? Because well, you don't even know. And I was like,
you don't even know, bro.
I was like, well, I can talk to them now. Like, I know that I have far better sex than them because I've come into it with God's perspective. And so anyway, but I had kids like trying to tell me about, this and this and this and all the things they've done. And I would just very, very simply talk to them about fidelity and faithfulness and trust and about their ability to be able to trust who they've been with or their jealousies or whatever. Yeah. And then I've had people even say, I'd be like, oh, well, that works for you. They didn't have an argument anymore. So the only thing they could do is like, well, that might work for you, but, okay, all right, whatever, man, and they just kind of walk away.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and what Hollywood and our culture portray isn't real life too. So they get it from some non-church kids get it from their parents, but then they're also getting it from the culture. Our church kids, they're not getting it from their parents, but they are getting it from the culture that, dating and sex and, all that kind of stuff. Just go ahead, go for it, But
in
that's
Brent's case, one of the church
kids
kids is getting it from his parents who's an elder at a
Apparently.
church. So I don't know how much time we have left, but I got a couple of questions from Tony. I don't think we'll be able to touch them all.
Maybe just one more.
Maybe one more. Okay, let's see.
Well, anything you want to add before?
I mean, geez, yeah, like it's tough. Like, I mean, I think I'm on the same Brent as Brent.
Same Brent as boat?
I'm on the Brent as boat. I'm on the same boat as Brent in the sense of like.
You're trying to kiss Jesse? What is happening today?
Whoa. I did not say that.
You tried to edit that out. I just had to add it back in there. I'm going to keep adding so you can't edit it. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
No kissing Jesse.
Not kissing Jesse. It was he wants his first gelato or his first kiss.
Well, now we go back there.
We can get the gelato, okay?
I was saying we can do one of them. I assumed you all thought I meant gelato.
Yes. So answer the question.
So you're on the same Brent as boat.
Yeah. So shoot, like the culture of the youth group changes every couple of years.
Yep.
And it is just like something. Yeah. Like in a perfect world, I'd tell all my kids, don't date till you're 30 and you're both Bible college graduates or so, you know what I mean? Right. Like in a perfect world.
It's a little too late there for me.
Exactly.
That's going to be a strict person right there.
Yeah.
Strict dad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a strict youth father.
I'd just say until you have a job and you're
I'm being sarcastic.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, there's things like that, till you're mature and you're spiritually, you have a good solid ground of theology and things like that. But in the real world, I think what Chris said is well, why? If dating is a part of your identity, and I realize that like for a lot of kids, a lot of girls, or a lot of boys, like having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend is as much of an addiction as like weed or drugs. Like it's a straight addiction. It's like an identity thing. Like it's I need this to feel complete.
I need this to fit in with all the other people that are dating.
Exactly. And then I think it's just you teach about idolatry. And how anything can be an idol. Like a boyfriend at 16 isn't necessarily the worst thing. I know pastors who are like, I married my high school sweetheart. We started dating at 15, 16. So it's like, I tell them, like, you could find the one now. But the thing is, how are you treating your relationship? And anything that becomes more of a god than Jesus Christ is an idol. And, you just kind of remind people, like, what does idolatry really look like? Because baseball can become an idol. Video games can become an idol. And boyfriend and girlfriend might not be a bad thing. Mary got married at 14 years old. But, it's all cultural. But an idol's an idol and sin is sin. So.
True.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. So I guess the last little question is, where's the line on PDA, youth group? Like, I know we all have co-head youth groups, I assume, unless anyone has like an all-boy youth group here or an all-girl youth group. And I'm sure there are couples within the youth group. Like right now, since start doing cross connection, like we have couples, especially from like the other churches, like they come in and like I'm not their youth pastor, And, sometimes they come in holding hands or just a little bit too close, arm around. And it's like, and all the different youth groups are like, whoa, this is weird. Like, I don't know how to react to this. And we kind of have those conversations like, hey, like, where's the line? So how about you guys? Like, for you in your youth group, not in like a youth rally type setting, but in your youth group, like, what's your stance and why?
Save room for the Holy Spirit.
6-inch rule.
Right now, it's not an issue. It has been before, and it's,
because COVID?
Yeah, everyone's got that 6 feet.
You can make out, but you got to keep your mask on.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
6 feet apart.
Oh, man. No, just because the kid's in the youth group. But
okay.
They're just nerds. They're not
also
dating.
COVID, too. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be a conversation with those kids of obviously no kissing.
Yeah.
There was a time actually at a previous church where the youth pastor at the time walked into people having sex at church. But I mean,
Haven't had that happen yet, thankfully.
It wasn't me, by the way. But if
thanks for that clarification.
Wait, you weren't the pastor, or you weren't the one who got caught?
I was in probably middle school at the time.
Okay, good.
But the one that got caught. That all that to say, basically, if they want to do things, this being the couple, it's going to happen, So you have to have wisdom in, how are you going to deal with this relationship of these kids? Is it more about the legality of things, or is it more about their relationship? And so kissing, meh, not good.
Not good.
And then holding hands and all that kind of stuff, it's, It depends on the culture, on the situation too. But what do you got, Brent?
Well, not to be a contrarian, but here's a larger philosophical thought. If we disallow public displays of affection, are we forcing more private displays of affection? So
potentially,
not saying that there shouldn't be rules of propriety, but like. Holding hands, whatever. Like I would try to use those opportunities to actually talk to the students, and I want to understand. I want them to understand that physical touch leads to great sex, and so they might not see the connection, but these are all things that are part of the process. So my philosophical connection, if they're junior high, probably not going to go that deep with them, but for high schoolers, I would definitely talk about these are all preemptively leading up to, and you're creating a set of dominoes. So rather than just saying you can't do that in church, like my question would be like, I don't know if that's good for you to do anywhere. Like I don't know that you should be making out or like you got caught at church. Like obviously if you're at church doing that, there's that part like, hey, let's kiss at church and see, I want to get caught or I want to do something in front of people. But then there's also the part that's like, without that shame or the thing that normally kind of keeps us in a set of decencies, like then that they're in whatever context doing whatever. So like I asked them like in a car, like I normally take it and say, since I see you're so comfortable in church, I assume you guys are sleeping together when you guys hang out in a car. And they're like, what? And they're all offended. And I was like, oh, because physical touch leads to more physical touch. And if you go and you're hanging out late night in a car after a movie,
what does making out lead to?
I got to believe that at least for you, I don't know about you, but you as the guy, I know that none of these things are helping you slow down, and it's going to lead to a miserable end of the night for you, because you're going to keep going down a path that you can't fulfill if you're trying to like love Jesus and do this the right way. So not to, you obviously can't do it with the junior highest of those, but also,
like I said, in some seasons you've had some junior high kids who were ready for that conversation.
Right, and they were further along that path than me.
Than the high school
kids.
That's
That's always awkward than me before I was married. Where here I am the 40-year-old virgin trying to talk to the 12-year-old that's having all sorts of inappropriate relationships and being like, be like me. He's like, heck no.
Oh, man.
Yep. No. There's plenty of stories of having teens much further along than I was pre-married. But I think that's always been like an interesting thing to navigate, and I think it adds another level of like complexity when it's like, well, what's your relationship with that kid?
Right.
Because that's another tough thing too, is like, you don't want to tell this new kid who just got saved, this new couple that just started going to church, or this new kid that just got saved comes in holding hands and hears you just like, hey, stop it. You know what I mean?
Shame.
And then you've got the double standard with the church kids. Oh, you don't let me do that.
Exactly. And then you get that. Hey, but like again, like a relationship's a big thing. Like if I know you, I'm like, hey, dude, back off. Like, come on. Like we're at church, shouldn't be doing that at all. When you have that relationship. And that's just a lot to consider. Like it is. So I guess if you're a youth pastor watching this, I'm sure you're navigating through it too. And I wish that we could just give you like a blanket statement, like at this level, follow step A. But it really isn't. It really does depend on so much nuance. And I guess you have to be led by the Holy Spirit. But I like that advice. Just like getting real with the kids. When they want to be all touchy, being like, hey, like this leads to sex. Like for me and my wife, like that what you're doing right now. Like if my wife's doing that to me, we know what's going down. And so when you're doing that in front of us, like is that like are you really like dumb enough to think that we don't think that that's what you guys want? Right. Like if you're not doing it, we know that's what you're thinking about, and, and that's just reality. Yeah. And you just got to deal with it and address it. And it's rough. I mean, dating couples can't help keep their hands away from each other. Like, we've all been in high school. It feels like as much of an addiction. Like I tell kids, like, sexual addiction, or when you just like you're dating, it feels like the need to breathe. Like it's just like you feel suffocated.
Yep. Well, and puberty hits too, and so it's like it's all brand new too, and so it's
like telling the kids
tough.
Feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Like telling the kids to not do things. Right. It's almost like you're telling them not to breathe, but it's just like we're being reminded that
you're killing me, Pastor Joemel.
I know, right? You're killing me here.
You don't remember what it's like to be young.
I'm only 30.
You're so old.
Old man.
Oh, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. Yeah, just don't breathe.
Okay, boomer.
Okay, boomer. Gosh. Just don't do it. So moral of the story is youth pastors, don't let them date till they're 30. Good rule.
There you go. And what was it? Out of Bible college, too, right?
Yeah. Graduated Bible college. Yeah. So, Jesse, it's okay, man. If I was your youth pastor, I'd say you're too young anyway.
Yeah, you're not even 30 yet.
You're good.
Or out of Bible college.
8 more years, guys.
Yeah. But all jokes aside, a little segue that Chris wanted me to mention is, if you are a youth pastor, I think every youth pastor's dream scenario is their kid, if they are going to date, that they're dating a Christ follower, someone who's either in their church or in another church, like actively serving. And one way that teens can meet other teens who follow Jesus is through...
Not in a dating way, but it has happened. We have got...
You wanted it to be a segue.
Hey, I know. We got Project 25 coming up. You can put the new one on the screen. This is last year's.
Bam.
But we'll put the new flyer up in
it's
post.
On the screen right now.
It's on. Wow, look at that. It's right there.
Whoa, look at that. They don't see your face. It's still there.
Oh,
okay.
Are you trying to touch it? Is it moving away from you?
Yeah, I thought it was like
I'm not
floating
doing
above
extra work. I'm gonna
It'll move in 3D.
It'll move a little bit.
We've got Project 25 coming up. We want you to check it out. Go to proj25.org. You can see all about what we do. We're going to give $100 away to 50 schools here in San Diego. We're going to give away $100 to, I think it's close to 25 schools in Atlanta, so it's spreading.
It is. Nice.
And, yeah, we did have that story last year of 2 kids from separate schools that met, and now they're dating right now. But anyway.
But they love Jesus.
The goal of this is to take that money, make more money, and give it away to a good cause. We had an episode, Project 25 episode. You can put that up too. Link to it here on what is it? The tags or whatever.
Link in the description.
Yeah,
we can put the link in the description. But we want you to get plugged in, check it out, and
Awesome.
Anything else on Project 25?
No, just excited that
it's coming.
That season's coming, and trying to figure out how to be creative during this time. I know last year we were very excited about all the projects that were able to be started before COVID and then continued through, and some of the projects had morphed. And now I think that everybody's kind of in that mode. So I'm kind of excited to see what people have come up with, because I think the last 9 months, churches have looked for very creative ways. So hopefully youth pastors and your student leaders, hopefully all your schools, you're looking for really cool ways to really celebrate this season. So I'm excited about it.
All righty. Anything before I close this episode out?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Jesse, you got anything?
No.
Don't date.
Still single and ready to mingle.
And ready to
he's
mingle.
half educated through his theology, so he's closer than most.
There you go.
He's almost 30 too. He'll get there soon. Don't worry.
Close enough. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I did hear him say this. I did hear him say that he likes the Old Testament. Do you know why? Because the book of Numbers is in there, and he might not have yours. So give him a call.
Is that your pickup line? Or is that your pickup line?
That's my pickup line right now.
There we go. Oh, man.
Alrighty. The book of Numbers.
Well, thanks for stopping by the UYC show. We're so glad you were here. And make sure you ring that bell. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend. Share this. If you got people dealing with dating relationships in their youth group or with teens they know, make sure you share this video with them. We'll see you back next time. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot.
Happy Valentines Day. And President's Day.
And Black History Month.
I feel guilty adding that last. I'm sorry.
Cornbread.
cornbread.
All right.